Get ready to get shticky. Shticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Corona Crush is creating Jewish couples always. Join the Facebook group. Just search Corona Crush and look out for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. They're 100% free and 100% Jewish. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Shticky Situations. I'm your host, Rachel, which obviously you know because I'm unforgettable. Everyone, right now, whatever platform you're listening on, go give us a 5-star rating and a glowing review. Like and follow. Like Shticky Situations page on Facebook. Follow Shticky Situations Pod on Instagram. Follow Shticky Situations Pod on TikTok. If you would like to be a guest on my podcast, I'm always looking for more guests. I would love everyone of any different background, gender, religious background, sexuality, anything. Come be a guest on my pod. There are either applications in all of my Corona Crush posts. Also, there are links in my social media pages, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. Again, that's Shticky Situations Pod, or you can send me an email at stickySituationsPod@gmail.com. Same for if you would like to date any of my single guests. You know I want to be a shadchan. So if you're interested in someone, send me a message and I'll try to make it happen for you. Again, Shticky Situations Pod on Instagram or stickySituationsPod@gmail.com. Okay, everybody, we have an extra special guest today. Please welcome my friend Michael. Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thanks for being here. Okay, so Michael, before we get started on your stories, can you just tell me and my listeners some identifying information? Can you, just so we have some context of like the world you're dating in and who you're talking about, kind of just helps a little bit. So, can you tell us your age, location, relationship status, and religious denomination?
Yeah, age 27, location Bucharian Hills, Queens, and I'm still single.
And religious denomination.
Oh, I'm Orthodox.
Okay, cool. Okay, so should we just jump right in? Do you want to start off with some stories, some dating stories?
Yeah, sure. So when I was like 24, I remember I was walking at a synagogue, right? After just, having davened. And then this old man comes up to me and he says, I want you to marry my daughter. Now, I have like no idea who this guy is, but he's like, yeah, I seen you around in synagogue. So I agreed to go on a blind date with his daughter. No picture, no anything, right? So I go to a chosen restaurant and the guy brings his whole family along. Like it's him, his wife, and his 3 kids, like his son, his other daughter. And I'm like, yeah, he's like, we were planning on, everyone just wanted to come along, right? So yeah. Oh,
How old was the daughter?
I don't remember. She was I think a little younger than me at the time, right? So anyway, it was more like a group meeting. So anyway, but we were talking and I realized, I don't think she was the one for me. But it was cool though, because he picked up the check. So he paid for my dinner, right? And then the strangest thing, literally this morning, he must have saved my number. It's been like years later. He calls me this morning saying that he still wants. Yeah, like years later, he calls me this morning and he says, yeah, I want you to I want you to marry basically he's trying to get me again, because he's like, yeah, don't worry. He's like, she's lost the weight, and this is what he's like, so yeah, he still
Well, that's
hasn't.
not nice.
What?
That's not nice.
No, that's what he said about his daughter. Because he
I
thought,
know that's not nice. I'm sure she was beautiful no matter what. But
right.
we're very body positive on this podcast. But so are you gonna try it again?
Nah, I don't think our personalities match,
You don't
yeah.
think that she could have just changed you said this was when you were 24, so it's been 3
Yeah,
years?
well, listen, the thing is like this, when I was on the date, or if you can call it that, she shows me a picture of her in a bikini and
Uh-huh.
thong and I realized, listen, I'm very religious. I want my wife to not expose her body at the beach. That's so religious levels. We're not on the same page.
But what
So
if she changed?
listen, people, like many people, especially as they get older, I feel are very set in their ways. that
But she's not that old. This was 3 years ago.
yeah,
So, like,
you know,
if even if
I'll be
she was
honest
like
with you,
22, she's still really young.
I'll be honest with
25.
you. Listen, also she was not that smart, with all due respect. I'm not saying she was an idiot, just like I couldn't really have a conversation with her. I mean, so
So, listen, I'm not trying to pressure you, but like, you wouldn't just like have a phone call with her and see?
like I said, like, the intelligence, with all the respect, where we don't really have much to talk about, and she seemed kind of very, immature, and also
Yeah, but
the
she was
physical.
so young. And
I'll be
her
honest
whole
with you,
family was
I
there.
sound messed up, but also the physical attraction wasn't there. I'll be honest, I
But she
wasn't.
could also look different.
You know,
People change in 3 years.
that's a good point. Maybe I
A
should
lot
call.
change.
Maybe
I
it's
think
a
you should have a phone call with her.
yeah. Maybe I should give it a shot. Yeah, definitely. Maybe.
Maybe just like you don't have to go on a full date, but maybe just like have like a phone or video call with her and just see if like the personality is like still not there or anything. And
Yeah.
like there's still nothing because like having a 20-30 minute phone call, that's no harm, no foul.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's a good point. Maybe I should.
And you would
Re
have a cool father-in-law who's like obsessed with you.
Yeah, the guy was like, yo, I used to be a barber, years ago, and he would like hang out beside the barber shop, like even like trying to get me to marry his daughter. Like he was like obsessed with me. Like was practically stalking me, Like
Honestly, like I don't know. I feel like people change a lot in 3 years. Like I think about myself 3 years ago and like almost everything in my life has changed in the last 3 years. Like I changed jobs a bunch of times. Like I changed jobs twice in the last 3 years. I feel like my appearance has maybe changed a little bit. My personality, people grow up, people get more mature, especially because she was so young. Like you were only 24. 24 is still a baby. Like she's probably like maybe 25 now, which is still really young. So I don't know. And you don't have to take my advice, but if I were you, I would like be a little curious.
yeah, definitely. So I got another story.
Okay.
I became religious around like when I was 17. So I
Okay.
went to school. So I remember I used to go to this Jewish culture club after school, and there was a girl who was 15 when I was 17, right?
Okay.
And we actually bumped into each other like years later, at a picnic, right? And she's like, "Hey, didn't you go to like when I was like 23 and she was like 21, I think?" And then she's like, "Oh, didn't you go to Brooklyn Tech High School?" I'm like, "Yeah." So we got to talking, and then she gave me her number, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
just don't, right? And I don't know why I didn't call, right? And then she we later on I bumped into her at like a circus party, and then she's like, "Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen between us." And I'm like, "Okay."
Probably
And
because you
then
didn't call her.
yeah, maybe, yeah, right.
Your
So I figured,
timing is off.
yeah,
That's
yes,
okay.
but I saw her at like a few singles things here and there, like, and then a buddy of mine, he convinces me, he's like, "Yo, Mike, we should go to the singles thing in Queens." So he drives me there. It was raining really hard that night, and I saw her there, and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" Say hello, and then like a couple of days later, I don't know how she got my number. Like in the middle of the night when I'm like asleep at midnight, she calls me, and she says, "I'm interested in going out with you." I'm like, I was still like half asleep. I was like, "Am I dreaming? Like, what?"
Was she drunk?
I have no idea. It was like 10 years later. Now I don't know, she's interested. I don't know. It was weird. So anyway, I was like, okay. And then like she just changes her mind like 5 minutes later. She flips out on me. She's like, "Yo, I don't understand why you don't get the message. Leave me alone. Don't ever talk to me ever again. If you see me, no means and
I think
I
she was
text
drunk.
I don't know. And then I text her back, "I'm sorry." And then she's like, "You should be sorry." Like she just bugged out on me. And I'm like, "What?" It was like, and then like when I woke up the next morning, I had to check my text to see if that really happened because I was so tired. Like it was like middle of the night that I just like I couldn't believe that happened.
I'm shocked that you answered the phone in the middle of the night.
What was that?
I'm shocked that you answered the phone in the middle of the night.
I'm surprised too. I try to be a nice guy, like I really. Plus, I
My
don't
phone
really,
is permanently on silent, so anything could happen in the middle of the night and I would never know.
I gotta really do that. Yeah, because not too long ago, somebody called me also in the middle of the night, because they were
Why?
in, when a Jewish Orthodox Jew gets a resume, they have like references that you can call and inquire about the other.
Oh, they called from
I called,
Israel.
I called, nobody answered. Then they called me in the middle of the night, screaming at me like, "Why did you call us? You woke us up in the middle of the night." And I'm like, well, you woke me up in the middle of the night. You realize that, right? And they're like, "Who is this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I was you're a reference on the resume." And yeah, it was just the time difference that really like, threw it off. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't answer my phone ever pretty much unless it's like one of my parents calling or like one of my sometimes I'll answer for like one of my friends because people know not to call me. Like you tried calling me before this recording and I don't answer my phone. Usually I'm not looking at my phone and it's on silent, so I don't see the message or I don't see the call coming through. But I don't like talking on the phone. So like if someone calls me, they know I'll know it's an emergency because they'll like call me and they know not to call. But it's fine. We it's a little bit different with dating, but that's a me thing. But wait, okay. We need to unpack more on this girl. So I think that either there was something that she misinterpreted or she was just really drunk.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just very confused. Like I said, I
Or
was
she
so
has a personality disorder. That
I
is a
I
possibility as well.
no idea. I was just so tired. I couldn't even like I just as soon as it happened, I just went right back to sleep. I'm like, I didn't even have the energy.
So you haven't seen her since or talked to
Oh,
her?
funny thing, I was at a restaurant a couple weeks ago and I saw her. She was like, there was some kind of fundraiser where people call and raise money. So
Mm-hmm.
they were fundraising at the restaurant. And I saw her and I said hello, and we were actually very cordial to each other. I was like, "How's it going? Yeah, what are you up to?" And that was it. I think yeah, I'm
Interesting.
still single. Yeah, so am I. So
I don't know. It sounds like dangerous territory. Here is going to be my lesson on this one. When a girl like gives you her number and you don't use it, they get like girls don't like because okay, here's my thing. I think a lot of times in the more traditional dating world, a guy will be the one to make the first move. So like the guy will be the one to ask for a phone number or to ask a girl out. So when a girl makes the first move, she's not used to it. And that's like really putting herself out there, which I understand. Like now we see it from the guy's perspective. But since we're not used to doing it, if we are doing it, if we get rejected, it's like 10 times worse. So like maybe she was like upset about that. But it's weird because so like I could see that where she would be upset, but I don't know if that's like for sure. It sounds like there's other stuff involved, but it's a funny story.
yeah,
You
definitely.
never know what will happen.
Yeah,
Maybe
so I'm
you'll maybe she'll call you again in the middle of the night. Don't answer. If she calls
right,
in the middle of the night, don't answer.
right.
And then what you do is you text her in the morning and be like, "Hey, did you call me last night? What's up?"
Yeah, so I got another story. So there was this girl who I saw at a singles event, right? So I
Hmm.
asked for her number, and this has happened more than once. Like I asked the number, she gives it to me, and then like I call her, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not interested." I was like, "Okay," and it's always I find that very confusing. Like, why would you give me the number if you're not interested? Maybe
Well,
they,
you asked for it.
yeah,
So from my perspective, I feel like you asked for it in that moment. Like you went up to her and you're like, "Oh, can I have your phone number?" So it's really awkward when a guy asks for your phone number and you aren't interested. Like you don't know what to do. And like, especially if they're a nice guy, it's not someone like you really just, but sometimes you're just not interested. So you give your phone number out of like, just to not be, make things really awkward. Because I think it's less of a letdown. Like, would you have been more upset if she just like if you had asked for her number and she would have been like, actually, I'm not interested. I don't want to give it to you. Like, wouldn't that have made you like more upset than her just saying no?
because now I'm not wasting time because now when she gives the number, it's kind of sending a mixed message because now I think
That's
she's
true.
interested. And now you're setting me up for I have all this false hope now, like, and now and then I text, hey, it's Mike, and then she texts like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't think it's gonna work out between us. This actually just happened to me yesterday. I was at a singles thing, right? 2 nights
Hmm.
ago. It was this beautiful, like 20-year-old girl, and we had like a nice long 10, 15-minute conversation. And then she gives me her number, right? And I just text her next day, hi, this is Michael from the event. And then she's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I reconsidered. And I was like, may I ask why? And she's like, I think we have different goals, you know. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, everyone has their own reasons for saying yes or no to people. Um, I don't know. I think also sometimes in the moment something might feel like, oh, okay, this like I'd be open to this, and then you get home, you sleep on it, and like maybe you reconsider. I don't know. I mean, what would you have preferred happened to that?
I'll be honest with you, like I said, I would prefer the girl not give me the number if she's not interested. Now, if she actually reconsidered, like she was interested, but then not interested, then no harm, no foul. That's
Yeah.
she doesn't really owe me any explanation. We just had a conversation. It's not like we were. I actually had a friend of mine who was engaged, and the girl broke it off via text message. You can believe it. She,
Wow.
she's like, yeah, it's over. Click send. Yeah, so I think
Oh, that's awkward.
yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. So also consider this possibility. Maybe you talked to her and she was like, okay, like I'd be open to this. And then like after your conversation, she talked to someone else who she was more interested in.
Yes,
So
I did see her speaking to someone else, and I also spoke to someone else. That's how singles events are. You speak to more than
yeah,
one
you
person.
speak to a bunch of people.
So yes, that's definitely is possible. A girl gives her number out to more than one person, and then she picks the one she wants.
Yeah. Or I mean a guy could do that too. A guy could collect
Yeah, like that.
a couple of girls' phone numbers and
I
like,
did. I have been at singles things, and I did get more than one phone number. Yes.
yeah. I don't know. I am really awkward if a guy asks me for my phone number and I don't want to give it. I was at a singles event. This is like a couple years ago at this point. I was at a singles event and it wasn't a good one. It was like a bunch of like really great girls and all the guys were super weird and super old. And yeah, so this guy like corners me and he
Oh,
was like weird and old and I'm like I am not enjoying this. And like I'm not good at being subtle. I can't. I say what I am thinking and you could read it even if I don't say it. So he like corners me and I'm like shooting all of my friends' looks to come and save me. And then he's like talking to me and I'm like trying to be anywhere but there. And then after like a couple minutes, he's like, I think we should exchange phone numbers. And I'm like, actually, I don't want to. And then I'm like, I have to go find my friend over there. Nice talking to you. Goodbye. I think no, I said I didn't want to exchange phone numbers, and he's like, well, are you on Facebook? And I'm like, my friend's over there. Like, I'm leaving. I don't want to connect with this person. But that one, like, yeah, I was rude. Like, normally I try not to be that rude, but it was just like
oh my
sometimes
God.
like these guys don't take no for an answer.
Oh my God. Listen, I can't tell you how many times this has happened where I've gone to singles events and everybody's like in their 50s and 60s. Like you show up and everybody's old enough to be your parents and grandparents. Like they say, oh, 25. I've been to single Shabbatons, they say 25 to 42. And then the person running the event makes exceptions for people and lets people who are over 42 come in. And they make a lot of exceptions. Like, because I asked this guy, how old he's like, I'm 50, I'm 50, this woman's 50. So you show up, you think it's 26, 42. You show up and everybody's in their 50s, and it's like, and then it's so awkward. And this has happened to me several times. I remember I went up to the Catskills once, and the guy said all ages. It's like, don't worry, plenty of girls your age. And then I show up, everybody's in their 60s and 70s.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
like, yeah. They're like, yeah, my wife died. I'm a widow looking for the next one. And it's just like there was like a few people around my age who were just duped, and we just couldn't leave because we were just like stuck there. So yeah, it's pretty funny actually.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I see it a lot around here. Not so many girls that are older, but a lot of older guys trying to be with younger girls.
God,
And like,
I go to these singles events. I talk to these guys. They're like delusional. The guy is 50 years old. I'm like, what's the oldest you're willing to date? He's like 41. I talk to the other guy. He's 46. What's the oldest you're willing to date? Oh, I don't date over 35. Like they're all pursuing women old enough to be their daughters, basically. They want
yeah,
they want women 15, 20 years younger than them because they still have the hopes of like having like, kids,
yeah.
and they're like, I don't know, delusional. They think they can get a woman like they're 15, they think they can get like a 30-year-old or a 25-year-old. I mean, I'm like, what planet are you living on? What kind of 35-year-old is going to take a guy collecting social security? Like,
I
but
agree.
Vince, oh, I can. This guy is 50, fat as a house. Yeah, I can easily get 35, no problem.
No.
I mean, like, okay, sure.
Listen, the only guys who are older who could get really young girls, not really young, that sounds really creepy, but like if a 50-year-old wanted a 35-year-old, he could do it if he was really rich.
Right, exactly. If you're like
That's like
Leonardo,
the only thing.
like look at Leonardo DiCaprio. Like if he's 50, he
Oh,
can get
yeah. He can
no
get a
problem.
20-year-old.
He can get a 25-year-old, no problem. Number one, he's great looking, he's great shape, and he's a multimillionaire and celebrity. So guys like Johnny Depp and DiCaprio, who are like 50 something, they can easily get 25-year-olds, no problem, because they're just multimillionaire celebrities. Yeah. So definitely, if you have like deep pockets, there are women who will like, wow, the guy is, so well off that the age thing. And also some guys who are 50 can pass for 40. They actually can, like, some of them in pretty decent shape, so it's not that disgusting, I think. I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know. But so going back to your point that they're like delusional that like they can get these younger women because they still want to have kids. I have a friend who we talk about this a lot because like we'll see guys around our neighborhood and I live in a neighborhood that has a lot of young professionals and they they'll come to these young professional events. Like there are events geared towards all different types of ages, but they'll go to the ones that are like for 20s and 30s and they'll be in their 40s or 50s. And one of my friends talks about it a lot and she's like some guys need to just realize when they miss their boat. Like
right.
sometimes like it's just not going to happen. If you're in your 50s, probably also maybe if you're in your 40s, like I mean, we do have modern day technology and like there are really good ways of preserving fertility these days. So like it's not impossible to have a baby in your 40s, but like if you're 50 and you're just like average, I don't think a 35-year-old woman is going to want you unless she's
Yeah,
like really desperate.
exactly right. That's exactly right, because many of them are, because when you get older, it's so much easier to get fat. The metabolism slow, with all the respect.
Okay,
So a
let's
lot.
not body shame people.
So anyway, listen, it's like this. Basically,
When
yeah,
you're older, it's just like you there's nothing wrong with getting older. Like we all are earning that. Like we're working hard in our youth and like we just I told my grandma that once that I told my grandma that at some point I want to start getting Botox for my wrinkles and she's like, "Well, number one, you don't have wrinkles," which I don't, thankfully. But when I do, she's like I never want Botox. I earned my wrinkles. And like we'll see how vain I am when I do get wrinkles, but it's true. Like we do earn our older age, but it's just hard when you're still in the delusional state that you want to act like a 30-year-old when you're 50.
yeah, and
So, yeah.
definitely, I feel bad for these women who are middle aged, because basically, like, I've noticed like a 25-year-old guy will date a 25-year-old girl. A 30-year-old guy will date a 30-year-old girl. But like once they hit past like in their mid 30s, guys their own age are not even interested in them. They're pursuing like women younger than them. Like 35, he wants like 29. You know what I'm trying to say? They're
Yeah.
pursuing young. So the girls who are like mid 30s have no choice but to kind of like go older, like to hit like 40s. Because it's unfortunately the guys even late 30s, that's when they start getting like, I want to go way younger, because they still want to have like, lots of kids, or just,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the girls who are way younger think these older guys are creepy.
Oh my God. It's like, you know what it is? I think they're holding on to the past. Like in the
Mhm.
past, oh, I was able to get any girl I wanted, and I
Yeah,
was
then
able
you
to
should
get
have
this.
married one of them.
Right, exactly. I was dating this supermodel and that supermodel, and I was like, and then it's like, well, yeah, but you're 10 years older now, and you gain, with a weight, and you're like wrinkled, and you're not who you were 10 years ago. But it's like, and I think some of the women too, that yeah, when they were younger, they can get any guy they wanted, but now it's like you gotta have to, lower your standards a bit, because it's like, you're at a point where it's like, take what you can get.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a problem also, just in general, that we live in a society where like we're forced to just settle on someone so we can be married. Like I think like it's a societal problem, and like I've talked about this in other episodes, and like this is like one of my life passions is letting people know that they can have full fulfilling lives without settling and being married. I also think settling, especially when a woman settles, it's really it's hard because number one, some of these guys that they're settling for, I think, and I don't have any numbers to back this. This is just like my own thoughts on it. I think a lot of the problems we're seeing in relationships might have been could have been avoided if these women didn't feel such immense pressure to just marry whoever wanted to marry them. Like, I don't know, we're in my last episode we talked about the Guna crisis a little bit and like these guys who are abusive and just like terrible people, and it's like okay, but couldn't if this woman would have been secure enough to not just marry whoever asked her, like couldn't this have like been avoided? So, but those are just my thoughts on it. I firmly believe that you could live a fulfilling life single. I think you have to figure out how to make it fulfilling, but I also think we need to change societal norms, and that's harder than just talking about it. But we'll see. I hope in my lifetime to like help people and make something happen like that, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, I'd love a partner. I'd love to have kids, but number one, I also don't need a partner to have kids. But I also think that that's not the only thing that can make you have a full life. And that's not the only thing that can like make you part of the community. But yeah, that's just my little tangent.
Yeah, I have actually another story. I remember
Sure.
there was a girl I saw at a singles event, and she turned she I think I yeah, she gave me her number, and then later she said, "Oh, I'm not interested." And then like a couple of years later, like actually 3 4 times people tried to set me up with her. They didn't realize they previously tried to say, "Oh, I have a great girl for you." And then I realized, oh, it's her again. And then online, people tried to set me up with her a few times.
Interesting.
So she made it, I think she made it very clear she's not interested. When somebody says no 4 or 5 times. And then
Yeah.
I remember, like also in the middle of the night, like around midnight, I'm asleep, and then she calls me. I don't know how she got my number, maybe through one of the other people trying to set us up. She's like, "Oh, Mike, you live in Queens, right?" She lives in Staten Island. "I'm going to Queens for a singles event, right? And are you going to that one too?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "Oh, could you give me a ride like Saturday night from I want to go to another singles event in New Jersey, you know?" So from that singles event, I want to go to another. So like, can you give it a ride? And I was like confused by this. I'm like, and I was like, and then she's like, do you want to go to like parties with me? We could go to like these parties, and then we can, if you want, we can go camping together. And like I don't know if she meant just alone together with other people. You can meet my parents. Like this is the way she's talking, and I was getting a mixed message here. Is she interested? Is she's not interested? So I flat out asked her because I was like, "So would you be interested in dating?" He's like, "Oh, in the car ride over, maybe we can like talk and see." So I was just like it was just so confusing. Like I mean, a year she's already turned me down like 4 or 5 times. People were telling me, "Mike,
Yeah.
she's just using for a ride. She just needs a
Yeah.
ride."
Yeah.
Because so anyway, um, like the night of Saturday night, we were gonna go together, and then I get a call, and I actually said, "Listen, I am so sorry. My grandmother just died. I ha-
Oh,
I just left her there. Yeah, I said, I don't know how you're gonna get, so she ended up like not going to the singles event,
Oh my gosh.
yes, I apologize. And I'm so sorry. And then I just dipped. I just left her there,
I mean, like, what can you do? Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then,
I think it was your grandmother telling you that it's a no.
right. Yeah. And then it was crazy. Somebody tried to set us up again. Right. And
Hmm.
then like, I don't know if she was considering it, but she was talking to me and she's like, oh, you want, we go to these Hanukkah parties together, and go dancing together or something. I don't know. It was just very confusing. And then I was like, I'll be honest with you. I don't think we're for each other.
Oh,
So
okay. Good for you.
yeah. Yeah. Cause, but
Did
yeah,
she
because
just want to ride to the parties?
that's what everyone kept telling me. Like, Mike, I think she's just using you for the ride and she's giving you this false hope. Like, maybe it's going to happen between you two, and it's in order to get this ride from Queens to New Jersey.
But like for the other parties that she wanted to go to after, did she also need a ride for those?
Um, it was confusing. She's like, no, I can meet you there and we'll just sneak in. We don't have to pay. Like, she wanted to just sneak in. I was like, no, that's okay. I can pay for no, no, no. I will just sneak in. Like, this is the way she was talking. I was like,
It's a red
okay.
flag.
Yeah, like, like, oh,
How old
listen,
is this girl?
what?
How old is this girl?
He is currently 27.
Oh, okay. So she's not that young. I was gonna
No.
say that's like a classic, like, I don't know, like really young, immature thing, but
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
that's weird. Oh, wait, before we move on to more stories, let's take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Shticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Are you tired of swiping on dating apps? Tired of guessing whether the cute guy or girl you keep seeing around is Jewish and or single? Then you need to run, not walk to join Corona Crush. Corona Crush is a Jewish organization working to create Jewish couples always. Corona Crush has over 30 confirmed engagements, over 22,000 members from all over the world, and has set up over 50,000 speed dates. Join the Corona Crush Facebook group and post yourself or have a friend post you and see who reaches out. Fill out the survey to sign up for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. Corona Crush is 100% free and 100% Jewish. Worst case, you end up with some stories of your own. Best case, you find the love of your life. Try it out today. Here on Shticky Situations, we tend to focus on bad dating stories, but sometimes dates do go well and lead to proposals and weddings. Who would have thought? And what do all of those require, you might be asking? Well, the answer is flowers. Who doesn't want flowers from someone they've been seeing? Don't forget, flower petals and bouquets needed for proposals. And that's even before all the flowers that go into weddings. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Primrose Flower Shop. In my opinion, Primrose is the coolest flower shop around and has the best customer service to fulfill all of your floral needs. Primrose offers a range of services from your basic bouquets to subscription services where you can get flowers delivered once a week. They deliver all over the tri state area, including Manhattan. Primrose does weddings, bar and bat mitzvahs, and other simchas. I've personally been to a wedding where Primrose did the flowers, and the work they did was beyond gorgeous. Primrose additionally offers in store proposals, including a romantic setup with candles and music. Primrose is located at 2922 Avenue M in Brooklyn, and the phone number is 929 376 9815. You can also follow Primrose on Instagram at PrimroseNY. So, if you can't get someone out of your head, buy them some flowers from Primrose. They'll either love it or they'll find you really creepy. But regardless, the flowers will be out of this world. Okay, we're back, everybody. Okay, so Michael, do you have more stories to tell?
Yeah, sure. So I remember I this has happened to me more than once. So I was going on this date, and my boss says, "Listen, I need you tomorrow." And Sunday is double time, double overtime. So whatever I usually make, I make double on Sunday. And it was like he was offering me a lot of money because he's like, "We need the job right away." And then somebody tried to set me up with this girl. And I'm thinking, listen, I'm getting a little older. I think my personal life is more important than work. So I give up the unbelievable money I could have made in one day to go on this date, And in the picture, she looks so beautiful. I thought I hit the
Wait,
lottery.
you couldn't have scheduled the date for a different day?
I tried to. She's like, "Oh, Sunday's my only available day," and I was like, "Okay, fine." People keep telling me, "Listen, your personal life is more important than work." I think reason why some people also stay single is they work around the clock. They don't make time. Their personal lives are so busy. So I was like, okay, so I go and I'm thinking, wow, she's so beautiful, right? And then I go and she doesn't match her picture at all. Like it was clearly like an old picture. People do this, they use old pictures. And not to sound insensitive, but she was 100 pounds heavier in real life than in the picture.
I feel
And
like that's an exaggeration.
I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not. You know, she was not a few pounds. I'm significantly heavier, and it was clearly an old picture from when she was like maybe 18 or 19 or something. And but I was still a gentleman. I bought her a cup of coffee, had a very nice conversation, and pretending like nothing's wrong. And then she turns me down. She's like, yeah, I don't think we're for each other. And I was very a blow to my ego, because it's one thing that like drop dead gorgeous woman turns you down. Well, she's so out of my league. But it's like when somebody, with all due respect, I feel I'm more attractive than, turns me down, it's a little of an ego.
Yeah, but like wire looks everything.
Looks are not everything, but also like I feel like listen, I'm a guy, and men are very super. I think women look deeper. They're not as superficial as men when it comes to the physical, attraction.
Yeah, but I think like what you're saying isn't nice, and I don't like what you're saying.
I am so.
So
I'm
no, no,
sorry if I.
no. I just like I think that a lot of problems like we're just gonna point out problems with some male perspectives right now is that you think that you're better than us because you think you're better looking than us. But like, how is her person? Could you remember? Do you remember anything about her personality?
Oh, of
Like maybe
course.
she had an
Well,
awesome personality.
I'll be honest with you. Her personality is fine. But the bottom line, she turned me down. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
She felt.
I know, but you're like all butt hurt because like you think you're better than her and she
Oh, it's
turned
not
you
that I
down.
think better. I was just upset because I gave up my valuable time. I could have made good money that day.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is very deceptive when people don't use recent pictures. Many,
Yeah.
especially older girls, like girls who are 40, they use pictures when they were like 25. They
Yeah.
use not updated pictures. And I feel it's a little deceptive because,
I
you
will agree with you on that, but I think guys also don't do it. And I think
oh my
we
God,
should discuss something
there are-
on the podcast because hold on, I'm gonna pull up your profile
oh, look,
because we had a conversation. Well, no. So basically what happened was hold on, I'm gonna pull it up to see if you changed anything. Basically, one of mine and Michael's mutual friends suggested on Loop. You guys all heard my episode about Loop, so that's another little plug for Loop. So hold on, I'm gonna find it. Not to put you on the spot. We're having conversation. We're cool. So my friend, our mutual friend, mine and Michael's mutual friend, tried to set Michael up on Loop with one of my friends. And I take one look at Michael's profile and I'm like, this guy's a serial killer. And and I'm looking at it right now. This podcast isn't video, so I can't show you guys. But basically, I have Michael's Loop profile up right now. He has three of the same picture, and they are his passport picture, where he is not smiling and he looks like a serial killer. And then so I told my friend to tell him just to like, try to help. Because listen, when I see something, I'm gonna like try to when I see something that I know could be improved. Like I'm not saying I'm perfect, for sure I'm not. But like when I see something so easy to fix, and like I'll tell the person so they know to fix it. And also like our mutual friend is like a friend of mine. I'm like, yo, go help your friend out. Tell him this. Tell him to fix it. And like my friend even texted me. She's like, yo, what's with this loot match? This guy looks like a serial killer. And like I'm looking at Michael on Zoom right now. He doesn't look like a serial killer. But in his profile, he still looks like a serial killer. So, Michael, I need to talk to you about this loop picture thing because I'm gonna need you to change your loop pictures.
All
I
right.
need you. Do you have any smiling pictures?
I have plenty of smiling
Because
pictures.
you
Yeah.
have a great smile. You're smiling right now, laughing at everything I'm saying. Like, you have a great smile. That doesn't look like a serial killer.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to give you homework on the podcast. The
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
time, the next time you go, so I literally told my friend this, our mutual friend, I was like, go out to dinner with him and just like at the table, have him take a picture of you smiling and you take a picture of him smiling and like you're gold. A wedding, if you're at a wedding, just hand your friend your phone and be like, yo, can you take a picture of me? Smile, all dressed up in a suit. All the girls like that. So, your homework from this podcast is to change your loop profile. So, by the time people are listening to this, if they see your loop, then they won't think you're a serial killer like me and my friend did.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody's happy at the DMV. You're waiting for like 3, 4 hours in the DMV. So when they finally take your picture, you're all like serious. So
Yeah, but
yeah,
why is that your loop picture?
no, what happened was I didn't even know what this thing was. There was a girl I was interested in, right? And then she
Yeah.
turned me, and then she's like, "Oh, you should join this thing, Loop." So she sends it to me, and I just got a new phone, so I didn't really have any pictures on my phone. So I just put up like this random picture that was like in my phone.
And she
And
turned you down?
no, no, first of all, she already turned me down. Like somebody tried to
Oh.
set us up, and then after she turned me down, she texted me, "You should try this thing, Loop." I never even heard of it. I only discovered it like a couple months ago. I think it's new. I think it's
Yeah,
genius, by one of my
it
favorite
is
apps.
new. The
It
the
is.
episode will be out by the time you guys are listening to this, but I'm telling Michael now, I actually interviewed the creator of Loop. So that episode is already out by the time you guys are listening, but Michael, stay tuned and you can listen to the my episode with her. One of my friends is actually getting married from Loop. Like she met her future husband.
I love it. Love the whole concept of friends considering up other friends. It's
Yeah.
very yes, because basically it's free. You got pictures, profiles, and basically, I think what I like is you can be active about it. You can
Hmm.
go not like J swipe. You're swiping, swiping, and sometimes there's nobody left to swipe. But here you can actively like look and say, "I'm interested in so and so, so and so," and now when I see that, I see, oh, I can set them up. He's interested in this one and this one and this one. So I feel you can actually do something instead of like people just. And also, I feel it's such a time saver because I recognize so many faces. I saw this one at a singles event, and I saw that one, and I spent like hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, and going all these singles events and running all over the place. And here, just at the very convenience of my phone, I just click it to click, click, and I can just, reach out to
Yeah.
like little I could send. I send my friend nuts on. I sent him up with like hundreds of girls. I literally sent them hundreds of profiles via Loop, and he sent me hundreds. So I
Yeah.
just think it's
But
a
you should change your pictures because I think
yeah,
you'll get a lot more yeses if you
yes,
don't have the serial killer looking picture. Also, it's
yeah,
weird to have the same picture 3 times.
yeah. I got no. I told you I did. I just got a
Like,
new phone and I didn't have any pictures. Yeah.
like
So,
I'll
but
show you like these are your 3 pictures. You guys won't see it. Because this is not video, but I'm gonna show you my 3 pictures. And
okay.
like you'll see, like they're nice pictures.
Oh wow, very nice. I love. Wow, that's very. I love
Yeah,
your outfit. Very
thank you.
fancy.
Thank you. They're from weddings. I feel like I need to make my
Oh,
loop a little bit more casual. Because I keep getting all these like yeshivish guys, and I'm not yeshivish. But because
you
like all the dress, like the weddings that I went to were religious weddings that the pictures are from. So like they're very like sneeze dresses, which isn't like a true representation of me. But that's what I'm saying. Like I was dressed up, so I had a friend take a picture. One of them my dad took also. It was a family friend wedding. But even like the last one, like that's I think you need to do this. Like my last picture is just like I was out to dinner with some friends and we are sitting at the table and like you go out to dinner, you get dressed up, you look nice. So one of my friends just snapped a picture. So that's what you need to do. Next time you go out with friends or go to a wedding or something like nice where you're like dressed nicely, just have someone snap a picture, smile. Smiling is important. No selfies. Selfies are weird. You can have one selfie out of the 3, but I think definitely not a mirror selfie. I don't know. I think these are like easy things. And this isn't just advice for Michael. This is advice for everyone. Like make sure you have current pictures. Like Michael was saying, like the last thing I ever would want to do is to catfish someone into thinking that I look like something I'm not. Like obviously I'm not always going to have my hair done and like full like makeup like in the pictures from the weddings I was at, but like I don't think I look that different from my pictures. Especially like I have one on there that's like a little bit more casual. So it's like, okay, like yeah, my hair is done a little bit and I'm wearing a little makeup, but I think having recent pictures and having ones where you look and feel good is important. Because like if people reject you for what you look like, that's on them. Like not everybody is going to like what everyone looks like, and that's fine. But you don't want someone to like you because of what you look like and then waste all your time and energy and go on a date with them and then they're just going to end it because that's not what you look like.
Exactly.
So,
Yes. I
also, I think like in your case, Michael, like I feel like a lot of girls are saying no to you because of your picture. But like I feel like if you had normal nice pictures, they might some of those no's might be yeses. So I just think it like maybe it helps people, maybe it doesn't. Like maybe if you put like heavily edited old pictures on there, you'll get more people, but at the end of the day, you're not going to get the right person.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. Like what you just said about recent pictures is like, okay, let's say you put an old picture and the guy is like 40 years old and he's putting a picture when he has hair and now
Yeah.
he's bald, right? And then he comes to the door like a shoehorn, and the
Yeah.
girl feels deceived, like, oh my God, I'm expecting this guy to have a full head of hair and he comes all bald, and then
Yeah.
you're wasting the girl's time, she's thinking, you look like this and you look like and you really look like that. And listen, like you said, if put a recent picture, if the person doesn't like the way you look, that's on them. Listen, all you need is one. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Exactly. And you want someone who wants you for you.
Exactly. Because
Like,
yeah.
yeah, sorry, continue.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I've had Shad Khans tell me to put old pictures. They're like, "Oh, but you look so good here," and I'm like, "That's from 3 years ago. Like, I look different. Like, why would I put my old picture and like try to deceive people?"
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
But
So you're gonna change your pictures after this?
that's what several people have actually told me to. Yes. Uh,
See,
you know,
I mean, but like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
and I know a lot of girls like they like when a guy shows that he puts effort into a profile. Like, this is on dating apps, on Loop, even on like I mean, I don't really date in the resume world so much, but
Right.
like when a guy clearly, even when I was on YU Connects, which I'm not anymore, and I do not support YU Connects
Why
for a
not?
lot of reasons, they're awful.
Why?
I mean, I left YU Connects months ago, but basically my last straw was getting it. I got into a shotgun said really something really nasty to me. The same shotgun that like told me to change my pictures to old pictures. She was just like nasty to me, and I was like, I'm done with this. I just always got bad matches. Like the guys were just really weird, and I'm like, why am I paying money for this? I don't need this. Like my wallet doesn't need it. My mental health doesn't need it. And I just like I got to a point where I'm like, I'm not gonna find my person on here. And even if I did, like, I'm not paying. Like, after all they put me through, all the mental distress, emotional distress, like, you think I'm gonna pay them a Shadcon fee? Like, no, thank you. So I think whoever I'm supposed to marry, if I'm supposed to marry someone, will find me by some other means.
Listen, that's what I keep telling people. In the religious, teachings, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Somehow you'll meet. If it's
Yeah,
destined, listen, people have been meeting before the internet was even invented. Okay. I mean, think about it. The internet was only invented, what, 20, 30 years ago? So
yeah,
for thousands of years, up until our generation ago, plenty of people have been meeting organically, face to face, without internet. It's only a new thing, this thing, internet dating anyway.
yeah,
So I agree with you. Listen, if it's meant there's so many other ways to meet people. You got singles events, people could set you up. You could just meet someone somehow at some kind of, hey, there's like Purim parties, some kind of party or something. So yeah, but
yeah.
no, I have found that a lot of people have been disillusioned with these matchmakers, because
Yeah.
it's just so frustrating mentally, and stress wise, and people set you up with people completely wrong for you, and they've had such bad experiences that many people, I feel, have gotten disillusioned. And I actually, that's what I've noticed, that in the religious world, they only start going to singles events, the girls, like after 25, 26, like in their early 20s. Like, I think they start out with the matchmakers, right? And then
This
when
is
they
like
get
in the more religious
in the
circles.
religious world, and then after getting so disillusioned with it all, then they're like, yeah, this isn't working. Then they just start going to just like singles events. That's
Hmm.
what I've seen. But I think in the secular world it's different. They're more like, yeah, I'll be someone,
Yeah. Like,
wedding.
I don't know. I'm more modern, so like the communities that I like have been in like college and as a young adult have always been like co-ed community. I mean, I went to Yeshiva University, which is not co-ed, but I like they have events and everything, and I was very involved on campus. Um, and there are a lot of ways of meeting people, and like also even after college, like the community I moved to after that, it's like a young social community where like you meet people, and the community I'm in now is the same way. So like even if you're not going to formal events, like I could walk into Kiddush at Chabad and like, okay, that's everyone. So, like, you never know, and you show up at you like you have Shabbat meals with people. Like you can meet people anywhere. Listen, my parents, you guys heard the episodes with my parents, and if you haven't, go back and listen because they're really good. My parents met on a Jewish singles cruise. Like they lived like states away from each other, and they
Wow,
met on a Jewish singles cruise. So, really, like if you're meant to meet someone, you will meet them. And
exactly.
they've been married for 33 years. So,
Absolutely. That's the way I feel about it. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. It'll happen somehow. Definitely.
yeah. Okay, Michael, do you have more stories that you want to share?
Yeah, sure. So anyway, my matchmaker, she tries to set me up on dates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she says one story, oh, I have this Moroccan Jewish girl, great for you. And she calls her and she tells me, I had her on the phone 1 hour trying to convince her to go out with you. Literally 1 hour of persuasion. And in
Oh
conclusion, the
boy.
girl, yeah, I don't date Bucharians. And I'm like,
Are you
to the,
Bucharian?
yeah, I'm Bukharian. And then I'm like
Oh,
confused,
that
like,
explains a lot. I also don't date Bucharians
no,
anymore.
there's nothing wrong with that. If that's not
No offense.
No, I'm not taking it. Listen, it's a different culture. We have our own culture. And if the cultural differences definitely is, among Ashkenazim and Sephardim is like, it's like two different worlds, the mentalities, the food, the music, everything. So I totally understand. You want someone who you have more in common with. If you don't want to date Bukharian, I just was confused.
I've had bad experiences with
I
Bucharians.
I totally understand. Yes, because like I said, the culture and the mentality, it's very different than the
Yeah.
Ashkenaz. Yeah.
No offense. I didn't mean to like be
No, no,
offensive.
no problem. But I was just confused. Like, wait a minute. If she doesn't date Bukharians, why would you spend 1 hour trying to convince her to go out with me? Like, I mean, I think the conversation should have been over in like 5 seconds. I just thought it was interesting. But I was like, I really appreciate her effort. Though, wow, my matchmaker is so built. She's
No,
like,
I feel like if somebody needs to spend an hour convincing someone to go out with them, then it's
right.
not meant to be.
I
Like
Yeah,
you should
especially if the
want
girl.
someone that's like willing to go out with you without an hour of convincing.
Yeah, what is the 1 hour convincing gonna do in terms of like, what is she just gonna like? Because I remember recently she tried to set me up with this girl, right? The
Hmm.
girl 25, right? This happened like several weeks ago. And I said to my matchmaker, I said, oh, she already turned me down like 5.5 years ago when she was
Oh wow.
19. I used to, yeah, I used to shop at this grocery store and she was the cashier, and
Oh, that's cute.
I, yeah, and then I was talking to her, and then she turned me down, and I haven't seen her in like years. And then the matchmaker's like, "Oh, I have this great girl." She shows me the picture. I was like, "Yeah, she already turned me down." And she's like, "Oh, but sometimes you could try again." Me like maybe it was a no back then, but it will be a yes. You
It
know.
could be. again, people change. People are on different mindsets. Like you never know that if something didn't work out a few years ago, or someone could change their mind about you. I
Right,
think people change their minds, people grow up. Like you don't know what you want at 18 or 19.
right.
So did you go out with her?
Nah, she turned me down. But listen,
Oh.
no, listen, no, listen.
It's
I
good
think
to try.
no, no. I
It's good that you
honestly,
tried.
no, but I'll be honest. With you, I know the reason because she's Ashkenaz and she prefers someone who's Ashkenazi.
Oh.
She's all not, willing to date.
So wait, I need to ask you some questions
Sure.
about this whole thing because as an Ashkenazi woman who has had a few experiences with Bucharian guys, and has sworn off dating Bucharian guys, and I know a lot of other females have said the same and have had similar experiences. Have you personally, like, have a lot of people told you that they won't date you because you're Bucharian?
And yes, I walked into a singles event not too long ago, like maybe a couple weeks ago. I walk in and I'm talking to one girl and she says to me, "Yeah, I'm Yemenite Jewish. I only date Yemenite Jewish." It was a yeshivish flatbush 19 to 27
Okay.
Ben. Then I speak to the next girl. She's Syrian Jewish. I only date Syrians. This is what she tells me. I go to
Yeah,
the next girl.
Spartan like stay within their own communities a lot.
Absolutely. Then I go to the next girl. She's like, "I only date Persians. I'm Persian." And then, yes, and then several of the girls have the Ashkenaz say, "I only date Ashkenaz," you know. And yes, I've gotten this multiple times where, and they know right away because in the religious world they do resumes. So I
Yeah,
have
so
a
they know
very
you're Bukharian.
absolute. My name is Mikhail. My legal name Mikhail and Gadayev. So right away off the bat, they know. And even the matchmakers on YU Connects and Saya Sinai have flat out told me this. Oh, the 5, 6 girls they saw in your profile, your parents go to the Bucharian shul, and they said, with all due respect, we don't date Bucharian. And so yeah,
Wow. It's like a
yeah,
big phenomenon. Like, okay, so how do you feel about people who just flat out refuse? Wait. Okay. Two-part questions. Do you like, can you understand why people don't date Bukharian? And
absolutely,
do you
yes.
take it offensively?
I do not. I'll tell you why. Because you see, Ashkenaz, they come from European culture, and it's more of
Yeah.
in Europe there was a feminist movement. Women got
Yeah.
jobs, the right to vote. Or, they're equal citizens. But in the Bukharians and many Sephardim came from Muslim culture,
Yeah.
and there's a Muslim mentality that they brought with them. And in the Muslim mentality, there was no feminism. Women have a very low status, you know, and women, didn't work and didn't have jobs, whatever. Like men worked, and it's very, I would say the culture is very well, at least the old culture is very anti-feminist
Yeah.
and not very egalitarian. And this comes maybe as a culture shock, to Ashkenazim who come from like that European mentality where it's
Yeah.
like so yes, I definitely understand the
Have you tried to like change the stigma a little bit? Like,
actually people have told me, Mike, you are the least Bukharian I ever met in my life. People they like, besides my name, people are always shocked when I say I'm Bukharian because I feel like I'm very Americanized and I've been here, so I feel my mentality is more American mentality.
yeah, like
So
I'm trying to think. I only actually dated one guy who's Bukharian. I think I had experiences with three.
mhm.
Um, but only one of them materialized into actual dating. And a lot of things he did I really didn't like. And I didn't like certain ways he spoke to me and certain ways he treated me. It didn't last that long. I think we went on 3 dates. It maybe lasted a month because I was like out of town. But I like ultimately ended it because like I'm like, I don't like how you're treating me or talking to me. Also, I think we were just like in different trajectories of life. Like he was like still getting established in his career, even though he was like 32. And I've been established in my career since I was 23. So like I don't, it was interesting. We had like conversations about it and he was like, yeah, I want to take care of you. And I'm like, but I make more money than you. Like I
Right.
like you want to take care of me, but like you make half my salary. So like I don't know how that's gonna work. But it wasn't even that. It was certain ways, certain things that he said to me I didn't like. And then he would be like, "Oh, he's like, you're the perfect girl for me." And I'm like, I'm literally not. Like, you want a girl who's just like quiet and will do what you say, and I am not that. Like, I'm like one of the most opinionated women. Like, I will stand up for my rights. I will say whatever I feel. Like, I'm like, you just want a little wife. I'm like, I'm not a little wife. I'm not gonna have dinner on the table when you come home from work. Like, yeah, it was an interesting experience. He did say a lot of, I won't like, I think I blocked a lot of it out of my memory. I actually saw him recently and I was like very triggered and I was like, shoot, what am I blocking out that even happened? It was a really weird point in my life too, and it was a weird way that we got set up, which is how it happened. Um, I don't think he's listening and nobody knows who he is except for like my couple of friends who like know about him. But yeah, it was a lot of the stuff that happened was like a big lapse in judgment because I was in a really bad place in my like life, which is why I let it go on as long as it did. And we got set up in like a weird way. Just like a very like someone the person who set it up was like someone who I could not say no to. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I was in a bad place in life. So I was like, okay, why don't we try this? We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, I think we just had very different values and views on things. And then the other guys like never one guy like I talked about him extensively already, even though we never went out. Like this was last summer. Um summer 23. Yeah, summer 2023. Um, wow, I thought it was longer. But I was having a lot of stuff going on in my life, just like busy with work, and I was in the middle of moving, and he was disrespectful of my time. Like he asked me on a date and then canceled last minute after I like made all the like it was on my like one day off during a busy time at work, and I was like I like literally planned my whole day around this because like you wanted to like the last time I do that for a guy, like you were saying, like when you took off work for that girl, like
Yeah.
no, nobody's worth it. Like but yeah, and he like canceled on me last minute. He didn't really apologize. I don't know. He did a couple things like that, and I'm just like, nope, we are done forever. And then by the time it got to the third guy, I had no patience. Um, I think he told me he would call me and then didn't, and then tried to call me like 3 hours later, and I'm like, I'm going to bed, so no. And I'm like, we're done here. Like this just isn't gonna happen. But yeah, those are my Bucharian experiences. There's a lot more details that were a lot worse, but I'm just not getting into them.
Yeah.
But
So,
um, but yeah.
yeah. So, like I said, in the book, like I said, in the Sephardic world, it's very old world and pre-feminist. It's like men worked and women didn't work, and and it's like the man is the boss and the woman is the housewife, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, staying home. And it's the mentality. It's like, oh, like the man is going to take care of the woman. But in
Yeah.
America it's more, it's more egalitarian, like they're both a man and woman work now, and they have,
Yeah.
so, but like I said, the culture, they brought that, like, unfortunately, I say this, unfortunately, they brought that Muslim mentality of that women have the man is the boss and the woman, you just stay quiet, and it's like, stuff, things like that, yeah.
So do you personally, are you looking for that or you're trying to become more modernized in what your
Actually,
views?
so like I said, I'm very Americanized. So I am more, like have more of American mentality than, let's say, my parents' generation, because I was raised here, and I actually, most of my friends are Ashkenazim, so I feel like they rubbed off on me in that way.
Probably a good
But
thing.
yeah, so it's like, you know, yeah, so definitely I'm very open to dating Ashkenaz Sephardic. It really doesn't matter for me, the
Yeah, but
background.
like, are you like, would you treat a woman as an equal?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Sure, yeah. Because, I feel like, the Jewish culture, I think women
Mhm.
have a very high status, you know, And but I say unfortunately, many Jewish people from other countries, rub the non-Jewish culture they were surrounded by rubbed off on them, you know,
Yeah.
because that's only natural when you're in a country and you do business and socialize among non-Jews, that the whatever, even among the Ashkenazim, that European mentality also has rubbed off, off them. And that's, very sometimes not parallel to, let's say, Jewish culture, I feel.
Hmm. Okay, so we have a little bit of time left. If you want to, do you have more stories that you want to share? Um,
Yeah, sure. So
okay.
anyway, it's interesting. I was recently at a singles event, and I saw this girl who, like a year and a half ago, we met at T for Two singles thing, and they had a very interesting concept. They bought roses, like red roses, for all the guys, and they gave the roses to the guys and say, "Give this to a girl that you
Oh,
like."
it's like The Bachelor
Kind of like The
in
Bachelor,
real
right?
life.
Yeah, yeah. So they gave the roses. So I gave the rose to this girl, very pretty. She said she was in dental school at the time, and we had a great like conversation, and she gives me her number, and then I call her, I think, next day, and she said, "Oh, you know what? I'm kind of talking to someone right now. Not that she's seeing someone, she's kind of talking to someone right now." And I found this very confusing. Like, A, I don't know what that means. And B, like, why would you give me the number if you're kind of talking to someone else at the moment? And
Yeah.
I think people explain this to me. They're like, well, they're not exactly seeing each other at the moment, you know? They're just talking to each other at the moment, which is two different things, I feel, maybe.
Yeah.
So
I think you
why
could talk to more than one person at the same time.
right, but I just find it confusing because why would you go to a singles event if you're kind of talking to someone else, you know?
I agree with you. If you're not open to dating, you shouldn't be going to a singles event.
Right. But maybe it was just some kind of excuse. Maybe because some
Could be.
people sometimes, make things up,
Or she met someone else at the event.
right, exactly. And this was just a nice way of letting me down, right? So a
It
funny
could
thing
be.
is I went to a singles event a couple nights ago in the city and I saw her there, and she's still single, I'm still single, and I try to follow my matchmaker's advice, because she's like, sometimes you could try again,
Okay.
down the road. And but how these the it's funny though, because I actually there was two singles events that night, one like at 6 o'clock and one at 9 o'clock back in Queens. So I
Hmm.
remember I went to the one in Manhattan, at 6 o'clock, and there was like speed dating, and I spoke to a bunch of people, and then I rushed back to the one at 9 o'clock back in Queens, and I saw her there again. So
Oh
basically, she
wow.
did the same thing as me. She went to the 6 o'clock one, and then she went to the 9 o'clock one, and then like I see her there, and she's talking to like five guys at the same time. Like, you ever see
Oh
this?
wow.
Like one girl, and she's talking like five guys. And I'm thinking like, yeah, I don't want to be number six, guy number six, trying to talk to her, because
Yeah.
it's just weird, group dynamic, it's like,
Yeah.
but it's like, but like, what do you do in that situation if it's like, you want to talk to someone, but they're talking to someone else at the singles thing? Do you wait your turn, or like, I mean, I just never knew what to do in these situations.
I don't know. I think you either have to be patient and wait to like catch her like when she's not in a big group, or you go and interrupt like Bachelor style, be like, "Can I steal you for a second?" But I don't know if I recommend that. It doesn't work so well on The Bachelor. Like people get annoyed at that. I don't know. I think it's a classic like if she likes you, she'll like it, but if she doesn't, she's gonna find it creepy
Right.
and weird. So, I don't know. It's tough. I think I would just like wait my not wait my turn, like don't stand on the outskirts of the circle, but like go mingle around and like try to make your way back to her before the end of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully when she's not like with a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
And not in a creepy way. Like
Yeah.
don't like follow her to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And like wait for her to come out of the bathroom and be like, oh hi. Like, no, that's weird.
Oh yeah, that seems a little creepy, like, yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah. But I have noticed that, the Jewish world is such a small world that many people get recycled. And what I mean by that is like people try to set me up with the same person more than once. Like this just happened recently. I go on my Saw You at Sinai
Mhm.
profile, and they try to set me up with this girl, and I'm like, we already went out, we already met at a picnic, we already spoke, we went out, and we were not for each other, and then now people try to set us up again,
Yeah.
you know, and this happens because
The same people.
yeah, and it's like, oh my god, did we go through everyone? And I just would love to see the look on her face when she opens up the phone. It's like, oh my, you
Well,
know.
if it's your passport picture, she probably thinks you're a serial
No, no,
killer.
it's a much, yeah,
That's a
but
nice picture. Okay.
no, but she knows what I look like in real life. We met face to face, so
Okay.
I mean, but I just realized that when you get a little older, when you hit your late 20s or early 30s, a lot of the same people get recycled, you know,
Yeah.
because this happens. Sometimes I get people try to set me up more than once, 4 or 5 times, on loop, you know, because people don't realize somebody else tried to set you up with that person.
Yeah.
So this happened to me. Like, like one person told me the person bugged out, like, oh my God. They put like no with extra zeros. Like no. And I think the reason why is like because it's like imagine
Keep
you get
getting. Yeah.
you could try to get set up with like the same guy 4 or 5 times. Like at the fifth time, like, oh my God, it's like and
Yeah.
then people are confused. I think the girls think that I'm requesting them more than once. But I'm not. Like if somebody else on loop is trying to set me up, right?
Yeah.
I have no control over that. They're the ones setting, not me. And but I think some of these girls think like it's from the comments I hear, they're like, oh, is this guy requesting me 4 times? Is he requesting me 5 times? Why am I seeing this guy 4 or 5 times? And I'm like, first of all, that's not how loop works. It's not
Yeah.
like like I can message people, by the way, try and like my philosophy is I feel like one no and that's it for me. If the girl says no once, like I'm not even gonna,
Yeah.
I
No, I agree with you. Like, I don't need to be told twice that someone doesn't want to date me.
yeah. I mean like yeah, my matchmaker says sometimes maybe years down the road somebody can
Maybe like years down the road, but not like a month later.
right, because like what changes in 4 weeks, It's like
Yeah. I mean, I do think people's minds can change and people's lives change in a few years, but I don't think that they change like within a few weeks.
right.
But yeah.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, the first girl I ever dated was when I was 20 years old. We met at
Okay.
Seneca. She was 18. And I remember we went bowling once on a double date, and she invited me to her house to meet her parents. And then her father hated me. Her father disapproved of me, and they're like, yeah, this is a no-go, right? So
Mhm.
anyway, like literally like a month ago, I go to the main street and the mother and the girl I dated, they're having lunch together, right? And the mother goes to her daughter and she says, "Oh, you should have married Michael." And I'm thinking like, but and then but because she was like in love with me, but
Oh,
the
really?
past and then the daughter's like, well, oh, but you know why? Because of that situation with my father. I don't even want to go into details. And then the mother's like, but what does that have to do with Michael? And I'm thinking like, you're saying this now, like years later. You know what I'm trying to say? Like now you
Yeah.
woke up, and because but I just thought that was interesting, like because and she was the first girl I dated when I was like 20 years old.
So would
So
you go out with her again?
well, she's already remarried. That's the thing. She
Oh,
got
she's
remarried.
married.
She got remarried. She got married when she was 2 years later, when she was 20,
Oh,
to
wow.
this. And yeah, so she's already been married for years now. And that's why I thought it was, such a strange comment that I walk in and she's like, "Oh, you should have married Michael," like
Yeah,
because
that's so weird.
yeah,
If she's
yeah.
already married,
Right, yeah. That's why it was so
maybe
confusing.
she's divorced
She's not divorced. I
or
know her
getting
husband.
divorced.
We're not
Oh,
together. you know, so they are still currently still married, you know. But I just
Oh,
thought that
okay.
was like, oh, Mike, you made a mistake. You married the wrong guy. You should have married, you know, like Mike. I mean, I took it as a compliment. I'm like, wow, that's okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. You know, but on the
No,
other
that
hand,
definitely is a compliment.
yeah, but on the other hand, it has kind of upsetted me because it's like, oh, I could have been married like a long time ago already. Like, oh,
Yeah,
you know.
but I think if it was meant to be, then you would have been.
Yeah, honestly, like that's the way we believe in the Jewish, you know, religion. If it's beshert, then it'll work out, and if it doesn't work out, it wasn't beshert. It wasn't meant to be. So that's the way I see it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree too. And like, I think sometimes that could also be timing. So I think sometimes that could be timing as well. Like sometimes maybe something isn't meant to be at this time, but I've heard so many stories of like two people dated, it didn't work out, and they both could have gotten married, gotten divorced, something happened, and then end up back together years and years later. So it's crazy. I think if it's meant to be with somebody, then it will happen, and it has to be in the right time. So that's how we should like look at everything.
Hmm.
But okay, Michael, should we get into the wrap up? Is there anything else you want to share before we do our wrap up segments?
Yeah, wrap it up.
Okay. Can you give me and my listeners one piece of dating advice?
Yeah, just be realistic. You know, don't look for Mr. Perfect or Miss Perfect. Just you know, find someone good enough. You know,
Okay. Good enough, but not settling.
right,
Like keep your standards achievable.
right,
Like make sure the person's right for you, but like they don't have to be a billionaire or a supermodel. They
exactly.
just have they just have to be a good person and good for you.
There you go.
And then last but not least, what is your tagline?
Always be closing.
Always be closing. Okay. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. This has been a real pleasure. And I can't wait to see your updated profile pictures. You'll have to text me when you update it, and I will check. I have it. I have your loop because the connection that was sent to my friend, like it was like, oh, like I should tell her yes or no or whatever. So I still have it in my notification. So I can see your profile. So you'll have to let me know when you change it. And I hope once you do, it brings you many more matches. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a real pleasure. And Shticky Situation Nation, you'll catch me next time. Bye, everybody.